Hey everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for the week of February 26th through March 3rd of 2024. All right, so this week we have quite a few aspects, quite a few interesting things going on. We did just have that full moon last Saturday, and so coming into the week, it's really good to implement any new perspectives or insights that we usually do gain from the full moon period. But this week we do have Mars squaring up to Jupiter early in the week. This is Mars, our more assertive side, in a bit of a clash with our more adventurous and free-spirited side. Usually this goes towards a extreme with that fiery nature of Mars and Jupiter, and so finding the balance of that can be very constructive. On around Wednesday, the Sun, Mercury, and Saturn will all be conjunct. And this is all in progressive Aquarius. So there is that innovative energy that's been really good to build things on with Saturn recently, good to have been focused on these things with the Sun and now Mercury. And so maybe some new beginnings coming out of some things we may want to build, we may want to implement for the future. And again, in that very visionary and progressive way of Aquarius. And then towards the weekend, around Sunday, we have Venus squaring Jupiter. So there could be some maybe wanting to break free. So finding the healthy way of having some change, some freedom, some mixing up the routine a little bit, I think can be great around the weekend. And again, that can be very constructive. All right, so let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here is the sky for this week. We're going to look at this for each day of the week, starting first with Monday, February 26th. And as you can see here, we are using the visible sky on this channel, which is very different from mainstream astrology. In mainstream, they're using an even 30 degrees for all of the signs, but as you can see here, the signs are different sizes in the sky. So we are taking that into account in what's called true sidereal astrology. And so if you are new, definitely check out that link down below for more information. Okay, so let's do a bit of a recap here. We don't have any sign changes this week, but we did recently have some sign changes last week. So the energy is quite straightforward in that all of the fast-moving planets, except for, of course, the moon, are here and concentrated between Capricorn and Aquarius. So Aquarius is where the main focus is, has been, while the sun's been here for almost 2 weeks now. And so it's been great to be focused on the more progressive, forward-thinking, and visionary sides of our lives. So this can be, of course, for ourselves in regards to our own aspirations for the future, things that really speak to our excitement or our true self that we want to cultivate. But of course, Aquarius also deals a lot with more collective matters as well, regarding the future, even the world, and sometimes community in our network circles as well. So it's been good to get in touch with this more visionary, forward-thinking side. Now Mercury is, of course, in the mix, and Saturn's been here already for over the past year. And so it's been good to already be building things in this regard. And anything that we can now take a nice step in the right direction with in regards to this future visions, this progressive side of life of ourselves, I think is really good this week as these fast movers, particularly the Sun and Mercury now, will be passing over over Saturn in Aquarius. All right, and then, so that's more of the air energies, in terms of that visionary stuff. But, Saturn does rule Capricorn. And so this is where we have, of course, the Venus and Mars, which is adding to that earthy, more disciplined Capricorn side of things. So it's definitely a mix between air and earth in this regard. And so here Venus and Mars next to each other still are all about how we relate with our interpersonal lives, our interpersonal relationships usually. It's the feminine and masculine archetypes of life. And so it is very grounding right now in the sense that it's really good to see the value of maturity, responsibility, long-term and patience energy, and to be taking action in this way as well with Mars, to be aligning our short-term needs with our long-term needs. So definitely in that both of these signs deal a lot with the future and more of that forward-thinking energy, but definitely a mix between the more thought-provoking Aquarius side and the more grounding, earthy, structural side that these two signs bring here. All right, so that's definitely the main theme in terms of the backdrop. Let's go ahead and break down each day of the week here, starting with Monday. So this whole early part of the week, pretty much the whole work week up until about this this Friday time period, we're going to have the moon in Virgo. Virgo, also a fellow earth sign to Capricorn, adds to that earthy energy, I would say, for this whole, early to middle, almost late part of the week here. And so getting in touch with, in this case, our more improvement oriented side. So how can we get in touch with that more detail oriented, the self-improvement oriented, perfection oriented, but also recognizing that, of course, there's, it's good to focus on what is in our control and let go of what isn't, of course. But this more methodical, improvement oriented, and structural energy of Virgo, I think, is really good to be implementing pretty much all week here until the weekend. Now on Tuesday, with that going on, we have Mars squaring up to Jupiter. This is going to probably get quite strong even on Monday. And this is where two fire planets, Mars, the planet of our drive and our assertiveness, is in this clash with more, free-spirited and adventurous Jupiter. So typically Jupiter, being a more benefic or positive force, can come across as quite easy. It's just that it tends to create a bit of a pendulum swing. And so there might be overemphasis of this fire. So perhaps overemphasis of optimism or assertiveness or confidence. And then as a result of that, probably some lows as well. Maybe not as optimistic or even pessimistic, or maybe not confident and not assertive. And so it's all about finding the balance between this pendulum swing between these two, and by being mindful of the energy, aware of it, conscious of it, and implementing it constructively, I think is great. And so in this case, what are the healthy qualities of these? Would be an open mind, certainly, taking action towards those possibilities and potentials, right? Listening to that free spirit, but in a way that is, again, constructive and in alignment with, this more kind of intentional side of ourselves. And so in this way, it's a great time for acting on opportunities. It's a great time for turning some of these possibilities into actual actions or goals with Mars. And and some of that, energy in regards to assertiveness or confidence can be good to implement with that mindfulness of any over or under extremes as well. So very constructive usually. Usually it's squares where a lot does get action taken upon, things do get built, things get implemented, and so it can be very constructive there these first few days of the week. Now, as we start to get into Wednesday, that's where we have the conjunction between that Sun, Mercury, and Saturn we were talking about. And so conjunctions are very much like new beginnings, really starting a new cycle with the planets involved. And usually the outer planet, in this case Saturn, represents the larger cycle. And so again, the cycle is about that patience and building and really responsibility towards these visionary or collective matters of Aquarius. And so we can definitely see some new beginnings here with this stellium or three-way conjunction in this case, and any intentions around new beginnings, setting intentions to start new things, having a new perspective on this. All of this is fantastic, but at the very least, I think it's a good time to listen and see perhaps what life is helping us cultivate out of that throughout this really yearly new beginning with the Sun and Mercury, and in this case, Saturn. Now, as we start to get into the Thursday and Friday, that conjunction will be sextiling Jupiter, which is nice to see, and Saturn has been sextiling Jupiter this year. So nothing major with sextiles, but it is an opening, and in this case, Jupiter, again, being more of that opportunistic planet, can help us see these potentials and opportunities and maybe help assist them forward. So it's really not adding anything new to these new beginnings with the conjunction, but it's nice to see that there is a bit of support and a bit of an opening there to perhaps cultivate them or expand upon them here a little bit. All right, and then on Thursday, just a minor note, on Friday, just a minor note, Venus will be sextiling Chiron. Just nothing major here, but just a nice opening to maybe be connecting in relationships and enjoying some values of life, enjoyments of life of Venus, and that can end up being perhaps healing and therapeutic, possibly. With the sextile, it's more, again, an opening or opportunity, and we can choose or choose not to work with it. Now, as we do get into that weekend, the moon will be in Libra. on Friday, adding to the kind of relational energy that Libra often brings. This will actually take us into Saturday a little bit with the moon still there. So Libra is all about doing what's fair, right, and balanced. Usually brings up themes around mutuality, ethics, morality, things of this nature. And so great to do that. But anything that's about bringing balance into our life in general, I think is good to work with that time period. And then as we do get to the later part of the weekend, so late Saturday into Sunday, the moon will go into deep Scorpio. And this is the part of the lunar cycle where we will be in the third quarter moon from Saturday and Sunday in particular. And so the third quarter moon is really about implementing the full moon energy, because exactly a week prior to this weekend, we would have had that full moon, right? Full moon last Saturday. And so it's really good to be taking those actions and implementing and again, integrating the full moon insights. In this case, it might be a bit difficult because Scorpio, especially with the moon here, is not the easiest constellation to work with. Even a Fucus where the moon will be late Sunday. So it's good to challenge yourself with anything that might involve healing, personal transformation, personal empowerment, essentially being aware of the deeper world and working with it constructively, right? And that can be, again, really good to help move forward the monthly energies. And with that, we do have a potentially challenging, collectively challenging energy to work with. Again, can be very constructive though. And it is Venus, the planet of our values and relationships, in a square with more erratic Uranus. So Uranus wants us usually to break free and maybe make some sudden changes, and again wants to listen to our excitement. But so it's good to listen to that side that maybe does want freedom and does want to listen to that excitement. But with Venus, it's about, again, connecting to it constructively. And I think in this case, maybe enjoying life in a way that is freeing and is different, but doing it in a way that's healthfully challenging ourselves. Like, for example, getting outside of our comfort zone a little bit, maybe getting outside of our perspective a little bit, maybe challenging our own status quo. And in the case of relationships, maybe a little bit of that as well, connecting in ways that are a little bit outside the comfort zone, getting into maybe others' perspectives outside of our own skin a little bit, and just being open to some change and some new experiences in general that may not be comfortable, but could end up, again, being very healthy for us. So very good to see how we can have some change in our life, certainly some freedom in our life, certainly some of this listening to the excitement, but to, again, do it constructively and implement that, I think, intentionally, particularly with what we're enjoying in life and our relationships. All right, everyone. So that is the week in a nutshell. There's quite a bit going on, but we can break this down quite simply by saying that it is a week of implementing the perspectives of last weekend's full moon. In that regard, Tuesday, the days surrounding Tuesday, we can integrate some of that fire energy of Mars and Jupiter, constructive assertiveness, constructive action, constructive optimism, right, and all that. Midweek, we have the new beginnings with the stellium, with Saturn, which is great to really just be listening to and see what new arises regarding some of that visionary yet building energy of Saturn and Aquarius. And then over the weekend, challenging ourselves, particularly in the deeper world, with Scorpio and Ophiuchus here, and also in regards to challenging ourselves with having healthy ways of a bit of change and getting outside of our comfort zones a little bit. All right, so everyone have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're not yet signed up for MTZ Insiders, it is a free newsletter where you can sign up down below. It's a free link. You get these types of videos, also extra content and discounts, and good to just stay up to date with True Sidereal. It gets sent directly to your inbox every Sunday. But again, have a great week, everyone, and I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.